Welcome into the PHNX Suns pregame show, brought to you by the DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's #1 sportsbook app. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so that you know whenever we are live. I'm Lindsey Smith here with Saul Bookman and Espo. Guys, we're just a few minutes away from Game 2 of the Phoenix Suns and the Dallas Mavericks. A chance for the Suns to take a 2-0 lead. You feeling good? You feeling great?
Let's get to the basketball. Woo! I don't know what that was at the end, but let's do this.
He tried to bring the energy. What you got,
Saul?
What you got, Saul?
Hey, 2-0 after
Nothing?
tonight. That's
no
it.
energy?
That's it.
Zero.
Oh, I have energy. I'm plenty ready to go, but I'm conserving it for key points throughout this pregame, just like the Suns will conserve it. I'm like the Chris Paul right now, okay? I'm conserving my energy for the key moments.
I think I blew up my vocal cords on that. So,
It happens.
so my apologies if I talk weird the rest of the show.
It totally happens. All right, guys. So off the top, I think the biggest question that we're going to have right now with this series is... What?
The chat
Why
just
the
realized
fuck are we wearing the same fucking colored pants and shirt? Oh my God. And the same colored shoes. It looks like we're a bad mirror of each other right now.
You don't have the cool glasses.
Oh, thank God. At least there's something difference between us.
It's really funny because there's a lot of things about you two that are very similar. There's a lot of things that are very different. But you guys are two peas in a pod.
Did we just become best friends?
Whether you want to admit it or not, you two are peas in a pod. So
Lindsey, you're wearing a black shirt too.
I wear black 24/7. Unless it's green. And then it's on top of something black,
I'm going to wear a fucking beanie tomorrow.
Go for it. I'll outshine you in my beanie that I'm definitely wearing tomorrow.
Nobody said that you weren't going to outshine me in the beanie. Don't get that confused, okay? Nobody's saying that.
I mean, I'm outshining with a black shirt and the gray pants. So.
I feel like you guys should take a picture. Like, just smile real quick so that we can screenshot this and post it. Fantastic. All right, Leah, we're going to need that screenshotted at the end of the show. Please and thank you. All right.
Saul's the Walmart version of Espo. Let's make that clear.
Is Dallas outmatched in this series against the Suns?
Yes. Yes. Okay. However many window lickers there are in Dallas that don't think otherwise or that think otherwise, doesn't matter. The Suns are clearly the best team in this series. It's not even close. They will win this game by double digits tonight because they're pissed off about the national narrative that Luka could somehow save this series. He can't. He can't save you. Mount Luka cannot save you. I don't care what happens on the court. There's no chance the Suns lose this game tonight. I'm knocking on wood just in case, but I'm covering my bases. There's no way. Luka would have to drop 60 for that to happen.
I will say this. The Dallas Mavericks have probably the best player in the series, individual player in Luka. But the Suns,
least offensive player.
Yeah, offensive. That's fair, but not defensively by any stretch of the imagination. But the Suns have 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 in probably 7 in terms of best players remaining on the court after that. So, yes, they're overmatched simply because the Dallas roster isn't talented enough. They have not put enough talent around Luka to be able to compete with a team that has depth 1 through 10. I mean, 1 through 9 probably more so, but the Suns can go deep. We've talked about this all year. Yes, I'll laugh at it. It's fine. Anyways, look, they have the roster that can be much better, more effective than Dallas can. So, look, Luka's nice. He's going to go out there and score, but who can step up? Jalen Brunson couldn't do it in game 1. Does he come out and have a better game 2? He did in the first round. He shot terribly in game 1 and came out and dropped 41 in game 2. But again, the Utah Jazz defense isn't the Phoenix Suns defense. So if it's not him, can Maxi Kleber shoot even better than he did in game 1? Mm-hmm. I highly doubt it. So then we're getting deeper and deeper into these guys like Spencer Dinwiddie. Is he all of a sudden going to have a 30-point game? Like, I don't think so. The Suns defense is too good. So Luka will have a great game, but I think the Suns just have too much talent for him to overcome it.
You didn't hear that Dorian Finney-Smith is the key to stopping The Suns? You
Yeah,
didn't hear that they should play him at the 5, and that will solve all the problems that the Mavericks had?
Yeah, that'll go so well against DeAndre Ayton.
Oh, well, I mean, it's like DA doesn't even exist.
Well, he only had
in Maverick
25
Land,
points quick.
in Maverick Land, which I like to assume is some magical door in the middle of nowhere that you open up and all of a sudden you see Narnia. Like that's how this all plays out. Like this is
like
it's
he's
just
gonna just save
yeah.
everything.
Luka is like this unicorn, and everybody follows the unicorn to salvation, and that's how this works in Dallas. I don't know what drugs they smoke out there, but I promise you, they are the strongest things you've ever probably taken into your system. I hate Dallas Mavericks fans.
That's a low bar with me.
Dallas Mavericks fans right now are like top 2 worst fan bases in the world right now to me.
Top 2?
Fucking hate them.
Who's 1A or 1B?
Well, number 1's always going to be Lakers fans.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
Let's be honest. Any fan base that we're playing is probably number 2 on that list.
No, but they're so like the excuses after game 1 were so crazy. Mavericks fans, in the same breath as saying that Luka Doncic is the best player in the series, will also say, but the Suns have the better team, while also saying that the Mavericks should win the series. What the fuck are you talking about?
What are? I don't mind fans saying that because what are they supposed to do? You're supposed to irrationally convince yourself.
You also have idiots out there, which we just talked about yesterday, like Nick Wright and other personalities out there that somehow think Draymond Green picked the stupid-ass Mavs to win in 7. Like,
Yeah.
shut up.
But
Draymond's trolling to try and get into the heads of the Suns.
And Draymond wants the Mavs.
Yeah.
Of course he wants the Mavs.
That's
He wants the
why.
easiest road to the finals.
Right. If you
He's just mad that they're not playing
I
the
honestly
Mavs.
feel like if you sat down with Draymond one-on-one, he wouldn't be like, yeah, the Mavs are actually going to win this series.
Look, there is some Dallas Mavericks podcast right now saying the same thing about Suns fans. But when it crosses over to the media, that's when it drives me nuts. When it's, oh, yeah, the Suns are the better team, this, that, the other thing, but the Mavericks are going to win.
But
there's no proof to that.
I don't know that. I don't know if I agree with that because I legitimately think that if the Suns, let's just say the Suns had Devin Booker, who dropped 45 in game 1, but everybody else on the team, let's say they didn't even have Chris Paul, right? They were just a bunch of average players, right? They were okay. Devin Booker averaged like damn near, 40 points a game throughout the season. If the roles were reversed, I don't believe we would be sitting here thinking that the Suns were the better team because we have Devin Booker. I don't think that. I truly believe that Suns fans are smart enough to understand when they're overmatched in the series and that we would need a miracle to win it.
Look, that's not my point, though. I think
that's my
there's
point.
But I think other fan bases find us annoying as shit right now.
Oh, I'm not saying that. I don't disagree with them. Like, I don't disagree that Suns fans probably are a little bit, they get into your skin if you're the opposing fan base. We're all up in the mentions. Don't get me wrong.
We deserve it, though, after 10 years.
I know.
Listen,
I'm not saying that it's a
Yeah.
bad thing.
No,
I'm just
I
saying,
know.
like, I can acknowledge that while also saying that Mavericks fans are fucking dumb. They're just dumb.
Well, they're going to convince themselves of a path to victory. Otherwise, why the hell be a sports fan? I mean, that's the point of being a sports fan, is irrationally convincing yourself that even though only one of 30 teams win, that your team's going to be that one of 30. So I get it why they're trying to convince themselves. They just don't have a good argument or a good counter on how Jason Kidd can somehow make it work and actually win that way. That's my problem with it, is you're not giving me any reason why you can actually get there.
Icon in the chat said it's because Suns fans are too busy arguing over insects being animals or not.
Well, that's damn straight.
That's why people can't be mad. We're preoccupied with more important things right now.
Overrated movies or
I do believe that Dallas is overmatched, and I think while it does pose a threat with its 3-point shooting, I think the Suns' defense is up for the challenge. I think our defense can be far better than what we saw in game 1. And even if they were able to shoot at the same clip that they did in game 1, I do think the Suns can come out and put the clamps on even more so.
Well, the thing is, the defense doesn't need to be better. They shot 41% from 3. Luka had 45. The Suns still won easily. That's the crazy thing here, and the Suns didn't play to their peak.
But that's what I'm saying, is that like the Suns' defense is better than what we saw in game 1. So regardless, if the Mavs continue to shoot the way they did, it could be a blowout if the Suns just play better,
Yeah.
which they are capable of doing.
Yes.
G Fair 481 in the chat says, Mavs fans, quote, we got the best player. We're taking this series. Also, Mavs fans, Luka has to ball hog because his teammates suck. Yes, that's exactly what it is.
And that was the other thing, is that the way that the Mavs play, I don't think matches up well with the way that the Suns play. Honestly, like the way the Mavs play, yes, it allows them to be a 4 seed in the playoffs. Yes, it allows them to get to the second round. I don't think it could allow them, regardless of who they played here in the second round, get to past the second round and into the finals because they play all through Luka. He has the ball 90% of the time, it feels like. And if you don't allow your other teammates, and yeah, you could say, well, they're not good enough, he has to do it. Or it could be maybe he doesn't want to do it. I don't know. I'm not in that locker room, so I can't say for sure. But Luka can't do it by himself.
No, and they wouldn't have gotten out of the first round if they had matched up against anybody other than Utah. They got the ideal matchup and a team that was falling apart from the inside, that had major issues on and off the court. So it doesn't surprise me that they got through that, but this is big boy time. This is Suns, Grizzlies, Warriors. Like, this is big boy time, and the Dallas Mavericks feel like the odd man out in this.
The Dallas Mavericks cannot beat a good team. And that's the difference. When you look at the Suns and the Warriors, to me, are the two best teams in the West. Memphis is nice. They're a cute story. Good for you for winning a game yesterday. But they rely heavily on Ja Morant. Whereas the Suns don't really rely heavily on any one particular player. It's nice when Chris Paul drops in 30 in a game, but you don't rely on that game in and game out. It's nice when Devin Booker drops 30 in a game, but you don't rely on that game in and game out. It's nice when DA drops 25, but again, that's the repetitive theme here. Mm-hmm. Any one of those guys could go off, and the Suns could win by 10, 15, 20 points. Same thing with the Warriors. It could be Poole one night. It could be Curry. It could be Thompson. Like, you just never know who's going to step up. But the other two teams in the West, with Memphis and with the Dallas Mavericks, they rely very heavily on one singular player, and that one singular player is not good enough to overcome the whole of the parts of the other team. And that's why those are the two teams that I believe will face off in the Western Conference Finals.
So we got a super chat from Ray Blaine. Thank you so much. That's Salty Saul. You are on fire.
You're much obliged, sir.
I questioned your
I know. I don't know why you
question
question my energy. I don't know why you question me, Lindsay.
Well, you had no energy last time.
Well, last time what?
On Monday, you even said after the show, you were like, I felt like we didn't have a lot of energy.
I felt like we didn't have a lot of energy. I was trying not to put you two on blast.
I am even keel. I have
always
the
come
same
with the
amount of
energy.
energy in every show.
I always come with the
Yes,
energy.
I'm the problem, sure.
Okay.
Lindsay didn't talk to me all night on Monday night, and I was like, okay, now I feel left out. So of course I was trying to bring the energy.
It was pregame.
I know. No, it was during the game, but I knew why. Never. We're
Can you
just
guys
completely
settle
having
your personal
we're just
issues
having side
after the
talk.
show.
There's a question in the chat from Easy that said, can someone explain to me why the Bucks and Celtics played before us on Tuesday and don't play until Saturday, but we get one day off for 2 games? I actually do have a question about this, if either of you have any information whatsoever, because I also find it very interesting that isn't the next Warriors-Grizzlies game on Saturday as well? Mm-hmm. So how did this unfold this way?
It's TV. It comes down to television.
Listen.
Yeah, but I get that, but like, we're every other day in this series. They have like 3 whole days off.
That is the best thing for us, though. I'm okay with that. You know why? Because let's just say the Suns end this thing on Sunday. Let's just say they sweep the Mavs.
Then that gives them more time.
That gives them like 3 or 4 more days for them to finally wrap up their series. Like, oh, yeah, I'm absolutely good with that.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. But it is kind of like, it would be nice if at least between one of these games early on, they had 2 days in between to get a little bit of rest.
Thursday to Sunday they will.
No, I thought we have a game on Friday.
There's a game Friday.
It's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday.
I'm sorry. Today, I keep thinking.
Yeah, I'm shocked that there weren't 2 days with the travel.
That's what
you
I'm
play
thinking,
tonight,
right?
You travel tomorrow, you play Friday.
Right. It should have been Saturday, Monday for 3 and 4, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So
Brian
I don't know.
Greer, I will never.
I totally understand the TV perspective, but I find it like, to me, it makes sense to swap those two, right? If we have Memphis Warriors and them all playing on Saturday, and then you have Suns and Mavs playing on Friday. Why don't you swap those
I
two?
think it's because this is the least sexy matchup that's left.
I mean,
in
that's
the
fair.
They want to
playoffs,
get this
and
shit
that's
over
why.
as
That is
fast as
fair.
possible.
They're just like, yeah, let's get through this one because we don't care.
is
Give us
fair.
more Grizzlies and Celtics and
It's
Bucks.
almost the same thing as the Heat and the 76ers now that Embiid is out. It's like, fuck, man, I'm glad we put this on the fast schedule. Let's get this over with because it's useless. Also, Buck Dog, here's your answer. If the Suns were missing any one of Book, CP, or Aiden, then yes, they would still be the Dallas Mavericks.
I think they could figure out a way to do it. For
Yeah.
sure.
I think losing DA would make it much tougher
Yeah.
because that is your massive advantage.
I would
in this
I would
series.
say that normally if we didn't have JaVale McGee and Bismack Biyombo, and I know they're not the same as DA, but I think they could supplement each other enough to get the job done to a reasonable level to keep you competitive in the series.
All right, gentlemen, let's move on to our next topic. Jason Kidd had some really nice things to say about Chris Paul, which, Espo, I think you and I both, it was a little surprising, right?
Yeah, I mean,
In the middle of, like, right before a playoff series to say something so nice. It's a little unique.
yeah, I mean, he said he had perfected the point guard position, which is saying a lot because Jason Kidd is a guy that's still above Chris Paul in a lot of categories statistically all time, and it is a little odd because I know that they played on Team USA together at one point, but it surprises me that the head coach of the team that the Suns are going against would be so kind about Chris Paul. I mean, it's tough to deny Chris Paul's greatness,
Right.
but Jason Kidd's a guy that could do it because in many eyes he was a greater point guard than CP3 at this point, and he has the championship. So I was taken aback by it. He's right in his assessment, but I was surprised that he actually admitted it going head to head with him. And I thought Luka was the guy that was supposed to be perfecting the point guard position if you listen to the national media. So
I think it's really nice. I mean, that's a huge nod from J Kidd to Chris Paul for sure. And Chris, spoke at shoot around this morning and just kind of was very fondly remembering those memories of times where they played against each other. I believe they were on an Olympic team together.
Yeah.
So I'm sure he probably won't admit it now, but I'm sure once Chris Paul's career is over, or at least the series is over, he would tell you more about how Jason Kidd might have had an impact on him, or just how he watched some of the things he did as he was kind of working through his game and perfecting his own craft.
yeah, CP's too locked in to dole out praise for Jason Kidd right now. That's just what it comes down to.
Right. Anything, Saul?
Water is wet.
All right. Next topic. This one kind of took the internet by storm today, but we got to give some flowers. We talk about how annoying certain members of the media can be at times and how some of the things that are said are just completely ridiculous and shouldn't be said at all. But there's one person out there who we can always seemingly rely on.
Our beacon of light.
And that is JJ Redick. And shout out to JJ Redick. You deserve all the flowers. So today, the topic of conversation was, do you have a problem with how Draymond Green has carried himself? Kind of just in general, but I think more so throughout the playoffs and this season. And unfortunately, Chris Russo said, among other things, that he wanted Draymond to shut up and play, which is not something that you should say ever, period. But here was a portion of JJ's response.
That has the same sort of connotations that the shut up and dribble crowd has towards athletes, and I have a real problem with that. And specifically with Draymond, the idea that America is tired of him. You do realize the guy has a very, very popular podcast that he hosts where he talks himself for a majority of the episode, and people listen to that. He signed a talent deal with Turner because people want to hear what Draymond has to say. The reason they want to hear what Draymond has to say is because, just like in this press conference, he is real, authentic, and unfiltered.
So there's a lot to unpack here, and if you haven't seen the entire soundbite from JJ Redick, I highly recommend going and finding it on Twitter because it is very impactful, very powerful, and I agree 100% with everything he said.
Yeah, is First Take required to have some loud, out of touch idiot on every day? Because I don't know why they keep bringing Chris Russo back on this show, because every time he sticks his foot in his mouth, and it's embarrassing. I mean, the take on Draymond Green was simply embarrassing, and it pains me for somebody to make me defend Draymond Green, a guy that I know next round we're going to have to deal with if we make it that far. Like that, I just do not understand why they bring people like this on. And JJ Redick had a level-headed, smart, well thought out response with direct examples as to why Chris Russo was wrong. Talking about, Draymond has that podcast, that he's already signed a deal with TNT to be a broadcaster for him, that people care what Draymond has to say and the way he acts. Now, sure, has there been some dirty things? Yeah. And, our own Jay Crowder kicked Luka in the nuts last game. Like, that stuff happens on the court, but people care what Draymond has to say. Very few are starting to care anymore about what Chris Russo has to say about the NBA.
I agree. 1,000,000%. I mean, he basically took all the talking points, so I have nothing else to add. So, but Chris Russo, it's so funny is he talks about Draymond Green needing to basically shut up and dribble, or shut up and just play ball. It's the very reason why he is even relevant is because he's a loudmouth, and he has no credibility towards anything, honestly, nowadays, because he has the worst takes in sports. He can go back to licking windows for all I care, because that's basically the only thing else he's good at.
I think there's so many facets of this conversation as far as like Chris Russo's comments. And I think a lot of it stems from a very outdated mentality when it comes to athletes. And that was something that he actually had mentioned. Like he was saying, fans who grew up in essentially my generation enjoyed players for certain aspects of what they brought to the game and nothing else. And JJ Redick essentially was like, I don't care about those fans. I don't care. Like, cool, yes, it's great that you've been a supporter of this game and this league for 60 years, but I don't care. And I completely understand that, because times have changed and you have to evolve. As human beings, you have to constantly be evolving and kind of understand that this isn't old people's game anymore. This is a young man's game now, and they're allowed to be whoever they want to be.
But the thing is then this is where I agree with JJ the most, is that crowd that they're talking about, those guys that played back in the day that were quiet, that they weren't loudmouths, they didn't have a forum to be loudmouths. They didn't have a forum to talk.
Twitter and social media
changed that whole dynamic. You see Draymond Green getting on Instagram Live right after a game, basically talking shit. Like, they just didn't have that forum. It's not like they were quiet and they didn't stand up for people or speak their truth. It's just they didn't have a forum to project to a national audience the way that they have now today. And so people are seeing what these guys are really all about, and and what they think and what they feel, and it's genuine. It's a real, authentic feeling, and people don't like it because they didn't have to see it before. Certain crowds don't like seeing that type of stuff.
And beyond that, too, as I feel like guys like Chris Russo are also probably a little bit concerned. You have to admit it, in this industry has always been dominated. Athletes were not the person who was the talking person, right? Mm-hmm. You were the athlete, and then there were paid people to talk about you and your performance. Now athletes are literally taking his job now. Mm-hmm. And that has to be a scary situation.
Because they have more credibility.
But that's the thing, is that like there has to be multiple roles, but it makes you have to step up your game, because it's like, okay, if all you're bringing to the table are hot takes and getting people angry and riled up, yeah, I would rather listen to a JJ Redick or a Draymond Green podcast.
Chris Russo should take his brittle old ass back to a game that actually appreciates those kind of takes in baseball. If you want all the pomp and circumstance of the way it was in the 60s, baseball hasn't evolved at all. Go enjoy that game and leave the rest of us to enjoy basketball. I'm sick of these kind of takes from guys like this. It's stupid. It's entitlement, and it doesn't belong in this anymore. Go away.
Yeah, but I just wanted to give a few flowers to JJ Redick, because, like I said, we talk a lot about the Chris Russos of the world. It was also important for us to talk about guys who are saying really kind things, not just about the Suns, but just the NBA in general.
JJ
right?
Redick
Just
has
basketball in general.
JJ Redick has got some of the best insight and takes of anybody else out there in the media. He does a phenomenal job, and it always seems like it comes from a very well thought out place, even in a moment of instant reaction like we saw right here. He didn't know what Chris Russo was going to say, but he came out and he articulated it in a way that basically shut Chris Russo right the hell up, which I appreciate very much.
Yeah, it was well thought out and considerate, and that's what I like about JJ.
All right, let's talk about some gambles. What do our friends at the DraftKings Sportsbook app think about tonight's game, Espo?
It's the same as last game, 6-point favorite for the Suns. And I think we saw if the Suns play on all cylinders, that should be pretty easy.
Yeah, I feel like taking the spread on this game is not a bad bet to make. Yeah. But that's not what I chose for my bet tonight. Simply because the odds are pretty favorable. I have Chris Paul first field goal.
Oh, you would have won a lot of money last game if you would have done that.
Yeah.
It's not minus 110.
Yeah, I think that was an accidental number. It's definitely a plus something.
Is it minus 125 too for Book and Doncic? 4 plus 3s?
It's plus 500.
Oh, Jesus.
For Book
These
and Doncic.
odds are way off.
4 plus 3s made.
It's okay. We'll just tell you out loud what they are.
I feel like this is going to be a shootout.
Minus plus 2,200 that CP3, Bridges, and Ayton will be 20 points each. I don't know what's going on with this graphic.
It just didn't export the right way. That's all. That's all it is.
I don't blame anybody.
And Gerald's is probably the most accurate, actually. Can we bring that back up, please? Minus 50,000 that myself and Espo will never win a poll again, because that's probably true.
Again? Have we ever won one in the first place?
I won the first one.
Oh, and I won the Suns one, but we haven't had any chance.
No, it's been we've been blanketed. We've been shut out ever since. So.
Well, your pick sucked according to the internet. So.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I've been saying this whole time.
I just don't think people understood.
If you want to win a poll, then make good picks.
I honestly and this is all fairness, no bias aside. I actually think Gerald's list was far better than anybody else's list. I just don't understand it.
I screwed myself picking Forrest Gump last.
Yeah,
my last two picks did me in. Mad Max and
again, it wasn't. We didn't pick the worst movies of all time. I just said they were overrated, and I feel like I was right in justifying that Star Wars and Lord of the Rings was completely overrated. It was so overhyped. They're always so overhyped. Now, I think where I messed up was I probably shouldn't have lumped in the whole series, and that's where people were coming at me for. I should have said, like, The Phantom Menace was way overrated.
Yeah, well,
I told
basically
you.
4 of your 5 picks were series.
Yeah.
Which I feel like was a terrible strategy.
Well, not according to the internet, because there's a lot of internet polls that I did look at afterwards that had, like, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings as some of the most overhyped products out there. But, whatever. I got dead last, 14%. It is what it is. Congratulations,
I was right
Lindsey.
there with you. So
Congratulations, Lindsey. You beat us again.
And with that, thanks for tuning in. Be sure to follow us and hang out with us during the game on Twitter at PHNX_Suns, or if you are a GoPHNX.com member, you can hang out with us in the members-only Discord. Don't forget to meet us right back here after the game wraps up. Until then, have fun. See you later. Bye.
Hey yo, my lifestyle is retro. Tell the Phoenix Metro. Megas in control and he ain't never gonna let go. PHNX though, Lindsey, Gerald, Espo. Saul pass the ball, we here to turn up the tempo. Got to understand me, I'll always rep the family. Rally in the valley like Dan G. No